Well, hi! Welcome back to a brand new episode of $1,000 Car Guy. We're back on the Festiva. It might look a little bit different since the last time you guys saw it. Well, that's because we've been working on it. There's a lot to go over in a short amount of time. One, carpet. I got carpet. Let me put a link to the description of where I got that from and the gentleman I bought it from. Seats. These aren't the old seats that used to be in it. These seats are actually from a GMC Jimmy that had seat extenders on it that I had to cut off over an excruciating amount of time because I didn't have the right tools. It's just typical Andrew nonsense. Anyway, we got them ready. They're sitting where they're supposed to be, but they're not bolted in yet. Doesn't matter. Center console, I got from the same place where I got the carpet from. I'm going to go ahead and link Dustin's information again just for fun. You can see that I've sort of trimmed it out for the new shifter that we installed the other day. A dash, that's also in. We saw where Leon was able to tack up the support rods for the steering column. It needs more, but we will get back to that in a little bit. From the front, it's starting to look like a real car. In the back, you might notice that we've got some interior plastics and some more carpet, but the interior plastic's not done. That's what we're working on now. Over a long period of time, I've been trimming off the bottoms of all the plastics, and they run all the way around. Everything back here had to be trimmed. I'm thinking of like a false floor that will cover up the gas tank. It'd be wonderful if we could get this to go back where the fuel filler is, but it's too low. That's not gonna work. Never mind. I did a little bit more painting. I also painted underneath the seats. We didn't just stop at the interior either. You guys see how I've got a bunch of this, what should be in the interior. You guys see how I've got the ECU, the fuse panel, and the throttle position sensor out here. That's because I ran out of room behind the dash. I don't want to mount the stuff up there. I think I'd rather put it out in the engine bay where it used to be before in the Yukon. What I'm thinking is, we'll do like what Leon did in one of his previous builds and put the ECU right back there. That means that I'm going to hack up the harness a bit more than it already is, but that's okay. It's not important in the long run. You guys will see that in a future episode. Leon was gracious enough to weld up, he told me not to show you guys because it's not good, the exhaust for us. He's going to make a new one out of stainless and take it all together for us when we have the new setup. Again, we'll see more of that in the future. The whole rest of the goal for this is to get the tune, which we went ahead and put 4 new colder plugs in it. That was a real pain in the butt. 3 of the wires broke from being heat sinked too many times against the exhaust manifold. That's my fault. You know, it's kind of like, well, what did you expect to happen? Exactly what happened. Once we get our new tune in, we're gonna go do some massive burnouts with this thing, hopefully not blow it up, and basically shove it off to the side because we're already working on the next project. You guys don't know about it yet, but you'll see it soon enough. Once we get a hold of where we are on the next project, we will be tearing this one back down. I want to run the low profile front accessory drives, a new low profile intake manifold, change the exhaust around. I want to be able to shut the hood. That's the new goal for this project. There's no way that's going to happen the way it sits now. It needs a complete revamp, but there's a lot of stuff we'd like to go back in and touch up on this car because we rushed to finish it the first time and now we're paying for it because things aren't working the way they're supposed to. So once we finish the second project car, we will jump back on this and then basically make it the way it should have been the first time. Really, the only thing left for me to do is to do an oil change, which I picked up a whole bunch of stuff today, so I can do it on here and on the truck. Finish up the interior plastics, which I'm really hoping to get to in a couple minutes, but we've got the Pinewood Derby race for my son's car. I should show you guys. He is a Tiger Cub Scout, so we went with a Tiger theme car for him. Who knows how well he's going to do. It measures in at like 4.9 ounces, so we will see. I'll let you guys know after the results. They're going to be in like an hour or so. So yeah, we are trimming up more interior plastic pieces. I need to cut a little bit more away at the floor in order to fit the side panel that goes in right here. I'll check back in once it's done. So, the driver's side went way smoother, probably because I learned what not to do on this side. So this side was only a matter of like 10 minutes and everything cut and fit and snapped back where it was supposed to go. I was really hoping that I'd be able to put the top half of the back seat in, but now that that's right in the middle of the gas tank, that's not going to happen. Let me know you guys' thoughts. I am thinking of, in the next generation, cutting out the whole gas tank and putting in like a really shallow sump. Basically just a fuel cell set into the floor. As long as it doesn't interact with the differential underneath, I'd be super happy with that. And then that would give us a whole flat loading floor, other than this bad boy, but that will be inside the tank. Maybe I can even find one that's recessed down so that it sits perfectly flat, and then we can just use it as, you know, like storage, like a normal car would be down here. Still gotta take those out. As far as the back of the car is concerned, we're basically done. Now, in the Festiva world, there was a super rare option where you had a cargo cover go across here. It clipped into right here, and basically covered this whole back section from anybody seeing into it. And again, remember that there would have been a seat right here, so it would have covered this whole area. I am thinking about replicating something like that to hide the back, but then I remembered we're also getting complete window tint around. So kind of makes the idea of a privacy shield null and void. Unless we keep it bubble boy status, which would really fool some people unless they got up close to it. Like, if anybody sees that through the window, they're gonna be like, that's a bit odd. Inside, I put the door sill trim back in. I had to cut like a ½ inch off of the carpet because it was just too bunched up. I'm probably gonna have to do something in the back here and probably fill that in someday. It's a fair weather car, I really don't care. Plus you can see straight through to the floor, through the dash. No worries, nothing to worry about. Oh, but I gotta have that dead pedal there. Super important, right? When you're driving a 2-pedal car. Anyway, the only things left to do in the back are to wire up the brake lights and the reverse lights. Shouldn't be too difficult, but I want to wire it into the stock locations as much as possible. I know that sounds stupid at this point, but I'm just trying to make life easier on myself. So I pulled out a whole bunch of the old Festiva nonsense. This is all the original Miata harness. I have the Festiva harness. Oh, it's still in there. So basically we can find the wires from the brake pedal originally on the Miata and then wire them into the wires that go to the back of the Festiva. That's the intention anyway, as stock as possible. Other than my oil change and a battery location, which is probably going to be in here somewhere, I still have a few wires to delete. These are all the headlight wires that Leon helped me find earlier in the month. I don't know. I need to mount my fan. I don't know. Move the ECU. Oh, most important, before the tune. Kind of the last thing I need before the tune and a battery. This is where the AEM wideband's going to go. I'm going to figure out how to wire that this evening, as well as get a whole bunch of things on order for Leon for his project, which again, you will see. I'm going to figure out tonight how to wire up that AEM wideband, and we will check in tomorrow. Hopefully everything's plugged in, and now HP Tuners will be able to get a signal directly from there into HP Tuners, instead of trying to go through the truck computer that I've got here. In order for that sensitivity level of tuning, we're basically just going to bypass the computer and go straight into the HP Tuner software. That's the goal. We'll check back in tomorrow. So, update time. We ran into a bit of a snag. Unbeknownst to you guys, I've been working with a tuner who's been super helpful this whole time. We've probably spent a combined like 15 hours or so probably dicking around with this thing, and the main issue was we couldn't get the map sensor to read correctly. And I was screwing around with the wiring and screwing around with the wiring, and then finally it's like, well, that's it. There's no other option. The wiring seems to be correct. It's the sensor that seems to be bad. And it's like, well, it's a brand new sensor. It doesn't seem like it would be bad. So I went to go remove it, and when I pulled the top half of the connector out, the bottom half and the nipple stayed in. So, like, this is... wow, it's still stuck in there pretty good. We need some pliers, needle nose. So there's the old 5.3 LM7 intake, and the only way to get it was to drop the subframe so that it would give us enough room to get underneath of this stupid clip right there. that is the bane of my existence. And it didn't help that there was a whole bunch of other brackets and whatnots in the way. I had to remove the alternator to get enough room because it has to come out like this. And basically nothing in this car is designed to do that. So we're at a crossroads right now. Definitely go pick up another map sensor to drop in there, or we can spend a ton of money and get like an LS1 intake, which will lower it. But if we do that, we need the new water pump, which Leon has so graciously provided right here. This is a Corvette style water pump. Along with that, we need a relocation kit for burn, you sucker, burn. We need a relocation kit for this alternator and tensioner pulley. I didn't think I would be doing this, and I'm a little upset about it. Remove the steam vent line as well. It's super dirty, obviously. Remember, we never cleaned this motor up. I kind of went over the front cover of it with some case of brake clean, but yeah, so I'm kind of stuck. I don't want to spend money that I don't have to, but then again, how nice would this be if there was a much lower profile intake manifold? How easy everything else would be to work on. I don't know. Gotta think about it.